Come on up. Not yet, I guess. He's thinking about it. Not thinking very hard, though. I don't know. There's treats and a hairbrush up here. I don't know. Got to work up the courage to do it. I can't quite figure it out yet. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See if he makes it up here. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I guess I forgot that it was this weekend. Yeah, I'll probably go next year. Wow. Happy August to you too, Darth. Bites on the floor, but he can't quite figure out how the hind legs work. Oh, he's got to come up and visit before he gets a treat. Maybe that'll coax. There we go. Now you get to have a treat. What, are you too tired from jumping up here to reach out and grab your treat? Huh? Jeez, you just expect me to drop it into your mouth, don't you? Want me to chew it up for you too? And then you can't even hold on to it. What a klutz. Yes, you are. You're a klutz. You gonna eat the shrapnel off the couch? Yeah, you better do that. I'm just gonna let you leave all sorts of kitty treat shrapnel all over the place. Okay, that's probably enough. You're already kind of fat already, dude. That's cool. I used to get free passes from John at Silo of Screams. I think that's probably why I kind of forgot that it was coming. I knew it was coming, but I thought it was a few weeks away yet. And so there just wasn't the reminder. I guess maybe we're not doing, I don't know, maybe he's not going to be there this year. He's done that in the past too. Work's been all right. I'm glad these past couple of weeks are over. I can't really go into detail, but it's been a rough couple of weeks. But that should be over now. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, I think I heard something about that San Diego Comic Con. What happened there? There was some sort of an incident. Well, I had some last week that I showed, but you popped in like at the last minute. So I actually made it a point to bring them out again today because I figured you might ask. Do you remember about 4 weeks ago, I just showed you pictures of this thing? And I did manage to get that. I like that big piece of quartz on the top there. That's really cool. But look at the pyrite on that, how that glows. That's a really cool piece to my collection. You know, I like quartz, I like pyrite, and I know the two come together, but I don't have any really amazing pieces of it until now. Just look at that, it's covered with pyrite and covered with quartz. Look at that, all those little pieces in there. That's an amazing piece. So very happy with that one. And I don't usually go with the cut stuff and the shaped stuff very much, but this slab was kind of cool, mainly because of what it does under the black light. You kind of see all the different layers that there are back there. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. So those are the two good pieces. There were a couple other pieces I got and I couldn't find them quick enough to get them up here, but those are good ones. And then I'm going back to the shop today. In fact, she sent me a Facebook message yesterday. Let me show you this. Something else she found. Give me a second to pull it up here. Let it load everything here. So, all right, let's pull up to this here. Give me 1 second here. I showed you this one a few weeks ago, and I saw this one last time I was there. It was amazing, but it was way, way, way out of my price range. And I mean, this picture doesn't do justice to it. This is called a grape agate, and uh, it was nearly $1,000. So that was a little bit steep. Well, she sent me another picture. Let's see here. Of another grape agate that is like, she says, 3 times the size. Look at the size of that thing and all the details on it. Oh, that's one of the things I hate about the picture viewer in Facebook's thing here. If you don't click on it on the little arrow on the right here, the arrow disappears, and then when you click on it, it ends up shutting down the page. But I thought that was really cool. She said this one's 3 times the size. I hope it's not 3 times the expense. But that was a video. This is a video she sent me of it. Her hand for comparison. So she says she's got that at the store. I'm gonna get to look at that, but you know, this one's 3 times. This one's still kind of just as shiny as the other one. So I don't know. We'll see how expensive this one is, but I don't know. I kind of like this stuff. For some strange reason, I'm into it. Well, I already kind of get most favored status there because I mean she acknowledges I'm her number one customer, and so you know she gets stuff specifically for me, and then you know basically offers me a price that's well below what other people get. So it is cheaper than the headstone. You're right. No, she's got some local vendors that she deals with. In fact, I met a few of them at the Rock and Mineral Show a couple months ago. But things like that, those are things she's got on consignment from other people. So they know that she's got people that are into this kind of stuff. So on her, going in her favor is that they'll let her borrow stuff and try and trap me into getting it, if you will. Eric's still in bed, huh? Sleeping off your Comic-Con coma. Yeah, no, I can't imagine selling anything I have. I like all my rocks. Not for sale. Well, sometimes I do get stuff from collections and stuff like that. When I was at the Rock and Mineral Show, I picked up a. Well, sometimes I do get stuff from collections and stuff like that. When I was at the Rock and Mineral Show, I picked up a couple of flats from Kara that had probably about 30 specimens in it. They were all from one collector. That happens from time to time. She'll give me special deals on stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rhonda. She pops in from time to time, but I'm just wondering if she's working a lot or, I don't know. And who knows, she could pop in still. Do miss her though. Lots of it left. In fact, I had some of it for breakfast. One of the things that they mentioned in the recipe was that it's one of these things that you have it have a subsequent have it later on, like a few days later after it's been sitting in the fridge, it'll get better. And I agree, it did get better. I think the flavors kind of blend together a little bit. And what I did, and I mentioned it in the vlog, is I mixed in the rice with it, so that thickened it up a lot too. And it's also really good now. It's also really good now because some of the flavors of the gumbo have worked their way into the rice. So yeah, it's really, really good. And I got a lot left. I got two big jars of it, and the jars are like this big. One of them I put in the freezer. No, I warm it up. I nuke it. I don't know. I haven't tried it cold, and I don't really want to. I think. Hello, we don't talk to people. Welcome to the group. I'm kind of the same way too. I don't really like talking to people either, so I get it. See, I'm not really talking to people right now. I'm just talking to myself. I'm actually pretty insane. Talking to my computer. Got to see a psychiatrist on that one, I think. The bad thing is, I really think it's talking back to me. Oh, not too bad. Um, it's the beginning of my day. I basically I get up and I get ready for the live stream and then start my weekend. This is the first day of my weekend. And I get like 3 days off every week, and then every week, and then every other week I get 4 days off. So Flash is good. In fact, she's going to be a co-host today. She's in the house. Let me go get her. Hey, Susan. I think I just bite your head here, but that's okay. He'll live. She was over here. Yeah, she's still over here. Say hi to the world, Flash. Wiggle your legs. She's waving at everybody. See that? That's Flash swimming. So we'll let her go here. I think she gets a little creeped out being off the ground, not being able to touch the ground. Guess I can't say that I blame her. Some crazy thing that's like 1,000 times my size is picking me up and holding me off the ground. See, it was funny. I went looking for Flash last night after I got home from work. I couldn't find her. And then this morning when I was making breakfast, um, she just kind of bebopped right across the patio cover there. So as I figured, oh, that's probably what's going on. It's been really hot lately. And, she's cold blooded. She needs external source to regulate her heat or her body temperature. And probably can't find very many places she can cool off in the backyard, but I bet you under the patio cover on the concrete, that concrete stays pretty cool. Not a tough week per se, just more of a challenge, more challenges than usual. Like I said, I can't go into too much detail, but hello, Gene. Welcome to the group. Frame up Matt's video here a little bit more. It's the same one that we've been working on for a few weeks. It's kind of stalled right now because it's about some new technology we're adding, and right now the new technology isn't in, so it's hard to do a video on something that doesn't really exist yet. So we'll just kind of keep it on hold. We may move on with something else and then come back to it. I don't know. I think there's a whole bunch of subjects we can do. And it turned out I was talking to somebody who is kind of involved in this project, and he was saying that there's a possibility that he might pull me aside to do videos for him too. So yeah, that's what it said. It is sassafras leaves. I remember seeing that in the recipe. Actually, there was a lot of detail in the recipe that I didn't include because there's just Now you use this, or you can use this, or you can use this other thing, and this other thing over here, and it's like it's just like it was a description of the entire history or like every ingredient, and so I kind of eliminated a little bit of that out, but and I guess people were saying that I pronounced file wrong. I guess it's what filet or something like that. I don't know. This is my first time ever making stuff like that, so I'm just reading what I read in the recipe. I am not an expert on any of this. I'm making it up as I go along. I'm not an expert. I just play one on the internet. It's been really hot here, John. In fact, we had a cold front went through here. Oh, last night, probably about 5 or 6, and it went from 105 down to 99. So yeah, it's almost sweater weather again. Oh, family's doing fine. It's basically just my sister right now and her family, but they're doing good. Well, that's one of the things I kind of noticed, John, was it sounded like it kind of didn't taste like what I was expecting. It got better with time, and I think maybe that's the secret is you kind of got to let it sit there and blend a little bit. But and it was very good, and maybe I got to be a little bit more liberal with some of the spices I put in. I usually basically on the first time, unless I know what I'm getting, I'll usually stick really strictly to the recipe, and then mess with it later on. Taco burger actually sounds good. Yeah, I kind of went with the seafood because well, at work we have a cafeteria, and one of the chefs in the restaurant or in the cafeteria is I don't know, Cajun, I guess, and so she's really into making some pretty good Cajun stuff, and so I've been having a lot of like southern foods lately, chicken fried steaks and that kind of stuff. And one of the things that she makes periodically is a gumbo, and so that's sort of what inspired this. Yeah, and I think that's sort of what sort of had to happen too, Susan. Because, like I said, I had some for breakfast this morning, and it was actually, I think, better. The flavors were more blended together, and I was really happy with it. So, yeah, maybe that's just the secret. You got to let it blend a little bit. Yeah, Flash has gone back to hide now. It's probably a little cool in here for her. Oh, Bite went back to his room, but he may pop up again. Well, I think they described this as a Cajun gumbo. Like I said, I would have preferred a little bit more spice with it, but like I said, maybe if I am a little bit more liberal with some of the ingredients. Yeah, I don't know about gumballs in gumbo. No, it wasn't spicy hot enough for me. In fact, I got some of that crystal hot sauce that I showed you, and I've been kind of mixing that in when I eat it. I love Cajun food. Yeah, my first exposure with it, because they don't have a whole lot of Cajun stuff in California. I'm just sorry to say they don't go that direction. But um, what I did do was when I back probably I don't know, when would this be? Early 2000s, maybe late 1990s. There was one year at work where I spent the summer in Huntsville, Alabama. Uh, we had two facilities at the CD factory I was working one in Anaheim, California, where I worked, and one in Huntsville, Alabama. Well, in Huntsville, Alabama, they'd lost a couple of key people, and while they were training new people, I was asked to go there and fill in for it. So I ended up spending like what 9 weeks in Alabama or something like that, and I really experimented and explored a lot some of the local cuisine there, and became kind of a fan of it. I had I went to a Cajun place for one meal and stuff like that. Really kind of enjoyed doing that. And so that kind of got me curious about it. Now that I've lived in sort of the South here in Texas, there's a lot of that influence here too. So I've been kind of experimenting with that too. So yeah. Oh, I just decided it'd be fun for a change to bring her in. Hear her walking around back there. And she's coming around this side here. I let her loose over that way. She's walked around the couch and now she's over here. You can hear her walking. Oh, I see her. Yeah, she's right underneath me here. She's right down there. So close I could reach down and grab her. I don't know. She doesn't get to be in here very often, so I think she's just kind of exploring. I think the squirrels or whatever it is got all my tomatoes. The jalapeno bushes are still producing, and I'm getting some of that. But yeah, well, she'll go flee the heat from if it gets too hot out there. Find someplace. You see, I think that's the reason why she slept uh, on the patio last night because I think the concrete kind of remains uh, cooler because it's not in the sun, so it doesn't heat up during the day, and there's kind of direct contact with the ground underneath, so it you know kind of keeps the concrete cooler. And I think she probably did that to escape the heat. No, it's probably my own fault because I feed the squirrels. No, I made that. You remember I made that big cave for her. She doesn't use that at all. There's a pile of trash bags filled with like leaves and stuff like that in the backyard. She sleeps under that. I've thought about doing like lettuce or something like that. That would be fun too. Then, of course, I told you about that time that I caught Flash in the garden chomping on the jalapenos, right? Yeah, I don't know what exactly it is because it should have been ideal for Flash. It's up high. It's easy to get into. It's right back in the middle of her corner there. It's nice and cool in there. But yeah, no, she never was interested. Kind of disappointing, but that happens, I guess. You never can predict exactly where they're going to choose to sleep. I used to have a cat named Cat. Not a lot of opportunities for her to sleep around, and she's probably a little too old for that anyway. Uh, just this one, and then of course the one I got from my mom up there. That yeah, like I said, I could never do this. That one up there that I had framed for her. She wanted one, but she wasn't going to wear it, so she just asked for a little one in pink and wanted it framed, and so I had it framed for her, and that hung in her apartment, and then I got it when she passed away. So I got just the two. Hey, MJ. I don't wear mine either. I think it's kind of pathetic walking around with your own face on a t-shirt. But since I've been doing kind of the t-shirts, the different Jordan Lion t-shirts recently, I figured, you know what, we'll wear this one on a live stream. Got to remember to change out of it though before I go over to rock star. Like I said, it's really pathetic when you wear your own T-shirt. Sometimes I get T-shirts from places I visit, but lately I've been doing magnets. I think that's kind of the way to do it because they're small, they're inexpensive, everybody's got them, and it's fun just to hang them on the refrigerator and have that as a memory of places I've been. Hey, Spaniel Mom, long time. Well, I'll tell you, when I went to Solvang a couple months ago for Beth's wedding, I got one there, and I gotta admit, I spent like a half hour picking out the right one because this gift shop I went into, they had hundreds of them, hundreds of different things. I mean, it wasn't hundreds of the same one; it was hundreds of different styles. That's another part too, MJ. Yeah, you're right. They'll last forever. They don't wear out. Yeah, and I don't even use them to hold things up on the refrigerator. I got magnets I use for that, but these are just, on the whole side of the refrigerator, kind of over, like right on this side here. I have all my magnets. I don't know. We're coming up on maintenance interval at work again, and they're talking this time it might be more than 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks. I don't know if no, it's not going to be Yellowstone, but I may just do some trip around in the local area. Maybe go to Oklahoma or Louisiana. I've never been to. Well, I've driven through Oklahoma, but see what's over there. That would be like a day drive or something like that. No, I haven't done a "That's Not How It's Done" vlog in a while. Unfortunately, I've fixed all the problems in the house, so there's not really anything to to do anymore. It's basic maintenance things like with the garbage disposal a couple weeks ago, or the refrigerator before that. Oh, that's not how it's done T-shirt. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I like picking up magnets because they're not terribly expensive. Two, they provide memory of the things you've gotten to do, and that's kind of fun. Because I mean, I've gotten to do all sorts of fun things. I might start forgetting some of them. It's like how great that. It's important to have things to trigger your memory when you get old, like me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of things I found in the kitchen that kind of made me shake my head and say, "What are they thinking?" I mean, I'm running. I have the same problem. A water line down the wall behind me here to get water down for the to service an ice maker on a refrigerator, and I have not been able to find a fitting that will connect that to the refrigerator I have. I'm convinced that whoever installed that ran that water down the wall in there just had like some 5 gallon bucket full of odd fittings and they put it together with that because I have, like I said, I have not been able to figure out what the heck that is. And then the wires coming out of the wall for the dishwasher and garbage disposal. That's crazy. Got to wonder if that would even pass inspection. Yeah, I like old concert tees also. I don't think the kitchen was an add-on, but I think they remodeled really seriously at one point. This house was built in 1978, and my parents' house was built like 1964, 1965, and it still had a garbage disposal and and a, uh, a dishwasher, and all the fittings are built in there. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many concerts I've been to, but I've been to a lot of them. Not some of the older bands like that. My interest in going to see bands started kind of in the '80s. So, it was more bands like the Talking Heads or Violent Femmes or some of those bands. I saw most of the big grunge bands in the early '90s. Breeders, Pixies. But I was also kind of with a group of friends who were into like '60s and '70s music. So I went and saw like well, I saw King Crimson once and saw Jethro Tull. So some of those things too, but for the most part, it's more contemporary stuff. I was into some punk rock, but not that much really. Wasn't really into that type of music when it was happening. So anything I did get into, I kind of got into after the fact. Huh, yeah, I don't know if I know that one. No, I think it sounded normal. It sounded normal to me. It might just be the microphone on the camera here, on the computer. It is quarter to 12. Yeah, it's good to have the clock going. I actually had to do some repairs on it this past week. The clock is a 7 day clock, so it means you wind it up, you don't have to worry about it for a week. And so I usually wind the clock on Sunday right before the live streams. And one of the problems I ran into, there's this chain that goes up over a gear mechanism and then comes down and has the weights on it. And the weights are hung on this little hook. Well, the hooks that I had were the same ones that came with the clock 40 years ago when my dad built it, 45 years ago when my dad built it. And uh, they had over the years kind of stretched out a little bit to the point where the hook was no longer a hook. It had kind of dangled down. It was just barely hanging on. And I tried winding it up last week, or I think it was the week before, and it came off the hook, and then the chain went all the way up there. And so I had to get in there and try and figure out how to get it down. And I went and replaced the hooks this past week. Little brass hook. It's like less than an inch long and an eighth of an inch thick. And three of them were what, almost $60. It's crazy. Yeah, I never really watched The Sopranos, so I don't have any memories of that. I think that was sort of the point I was getting out of TV. Yeah, I don't even have over the air TV. Everything I got is either streaming or physical media. Cut the cable a few years ago. Last new thing. I don't know. I think I gave one of the more recent Star Trek spin-offs a watch, but didn't really see anything I liked. Watched a couple episodes. It seemed that a lot to be going in the direction a lot of stuff goes these days. It's just becoming more and more woke. I don't know. I'm not really that adventuresome when it comes to watching new things anymore. I think you kind of get to a point in your life where it's like, okay, yeah, I don't really relate to anything. Every once in a while, something does cross my radar that I wish I had watched earlier. And Jordan's a good person for that because I think the last time he came and visited me, I think it was probably the time before when I was still in the apartment. Um, he actually bought me a couple of movies. One of them was Sling Blade, uh, and the other was the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I hadn't seen either of those, and those are both great movies. I can hear Flash walking around again. Coming back this way, she's over here. Never really got into Dark Shadows. I don't think maybe I ever, gave them any kind of a chance. I don't know if I've ever actually seen them. Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith, those would have both been a good concert. Guns N' Roses is another one of those bands I kind of discovered afterwards, and through Jordan too, because Jordan was such a huge Guns N' Roses fan. There's a lot of bands that, from that era that maybe I never was into at the time, but if I got a chance to go see them in concert, I would definitely do it. Oh, I've been to a concert more recent than that, but it's still been a couple of years. I went and saw the Flaming Lips and Particle Kid over at Willie Nelson's Ranch. I don't know where I would have watched that, Susan. Yeah, definitely wouldn't have seen it there. Oh man, yes, I saw clips of that. Texas has already decided they're going to sue him. I think Florida's going after him too. Because his auto pen pardon from the federal government isn't gonna give him immunity from states. I know that guy's directly responsible for 1 million deaths in the U.S. and tens of millions worldwide. That guy should be in jail. And the only thing he's concerned about is how famous he is. I loved how I don't remember which senator it was that asked him like, "What color is your tie?" I plead the fifth. What color is the carpet? I plead the fifth. What color is that folder in front of you? I plead the fifth. I got fooled into it once, Yvonne. the company I worked for said that you take the jab, you don't have to wear the mask. And then a month or so after I took the jab, they changed their mind. But I only took it once, and I never got the disease, not before, not after. So I don't know. Well, the auto pen doesn't protect him from states going after him. It's just from federal offenses. And if they can make the argument that the pen signed, then it's not valid. And so even then, he can go. Anybody could go after him. I mean, that guy's got a million dead bodies in his hands. And he's at least partially responsible for it because it was he and his agency that was funding the research in Wuhan, China. And he was doing something illegal because gain of function research is illegal in the US. So he was doing it in China and it got away. And there's millions of dead people because of it. That guy's a mass murderer up there on the level with Hitler. I don't even know what the final death toll is. Let's see. Let's see if AI can tell us here. How many people died of COVID worldwide? Doesn't have anything to say about that. Let's see. Okay, according to Wikipedia, you can take that as truthful or not, depending on your perspective. A little over 7 million dead people, and it's got to be more than that. Because China, we know China kind of withheld the numbers there, and I'm sure Russia did too. Well, that's another thing too, Susan. To put the fear into people, they were trying to, that every person that died, even if they had like a heart attack or something like that, if they had COVID when they died, they call it a COVID death. Yeah, a friend of mine's dad died of it. I think she's back there now. I can hear her over there. I don't know. She doesn't get to be in here very often, so she's probably just exploring. She may appear over there in a minute. Oh, I've never been one to get like the flu shot. I've never had a flu shot. And I think one of the things that always made me distrust the flu shots is every company I ever worked at gave them to you the day before you went away on your weekend. Because then if you get something, you're not missing work for it. masks didn't work, social distancing didn't work. What was it, 14 days to slow the spread? Yeah, that worked well. Yeah, right. Firing squad. All are true, Susan. There's so many people that died alone because they couldn't visit their loved ones. How many businesses were destroyed? I mean, and then covering up things like hydroxychloroquine, which could have saved lives. Mm. Back itches. There we go. That's better. Yeah, that was a perfect example, Susan. My mom was locked in her apartment for like 6 months, starting right after we buried my dad. So my mom was already going through enough as it was, and now she couldn't even, go down to the cafeteria and visit her friends. They used to break the rules. They'd each go to their door and they'd talk to each other, from 20 feet apart. The because I mean I went to that apartment, when my mom and dad were both looking at it right before my dad died, and um, it was a beautiful place. It was a really nice place. A lot of you know, great places to interact with people. A lot of fun things to do. They had a movie theater in there. They had cafeteria. They had library. All sorts of stuff to do. But the second my mom got in, that boom, lockdown, and she couldn't get out. And as soon as she could get out, she moved away. Yeah, he's literally the biggest piece of what in the world. Yeah, there were a lot of companies that did that. And of course, there were a lot of companies that were shut down because of COVID. I was lucky. Mine was considered, not essential. And so, I actually got a bonus for coming into work for, there. So, I was way more lucky than a lot of people were. A lot of people lost their livelihoods because of that. Oh, and that's the thing that makes me sick to Darth, is the PPE issue, because China unleashed all that, unleashed the virus on us. Then they sold us the PPE to save ourselves. That always struck me as the biggest irony in the world when I pull out a mask and say, made in China. Gee, thanks, China. Well, it didn't matter. The masks didn't work anyway. Yeah, I know there's a lot of cases of that, Mark. That's why the numbers were so high too, because I don't think the COVID deaths were as high as they say they were, because to make it seem more scary, they were everybody that died and had COVID, they died of COVID. So you had a heart attack while you had COVID. Wasn't the heart attack that killed you, it was the COVID. It was counted as a COVID death. I saw a funny thing on Facebook this morning about that, uh, about how the same people that are whining about the No Kings rallies and stuff like that, and we can't have kings. Donald Trump's a king. Those are the people that were bowing and curtsying with everything that Fauci said. I've heard rumors that what happened to Lindsey Graham was related to the virus. I don't know it to be true, but I've heard it suggested. And it came from the internet, so it's got to be truthful, right? Yeah, because there was so much of that of young, healthy people dying. It wasn't just old people with comorbidities. No, it was you know young, healthy people other with no other issues. I do love how Trump is trolling the Democrats by suggesting he'll run again. He doesn't make them insane; he just reveals their insanity. It's actually really funny to watch. He knows how to push their buttons. Exactly, gaslighting. Yeah, I'm sure she'll do I'm sure she'll be as successful this time as last time. Oh man, can you imagine the debates? Can you imagine like JD Vance going up against Kamala Harris, or better yet, they're talking what Vance Rubio or DeSantis. Can you imagine DeSantis going against AOC? I would pay to see that. Popcorn infused bourbon? Shouldn't it be bourbon infused popcorn? I just wonder if they got bourbon infused bourbon. You know, you're thinking it. I can't believe that Karen Bass got reelected again after that. It just shows how far gone California is. New York and Illinois too. Holy cow! I mean, it's such a beautiful state. It's been ruined. Yeah, I did hear about that, Susan. That guy's a piece of junk too. Piece of crap. He's just spitting in the face of everybody who lost somebody on September 11th. He's trying to say anyone who doesn't want him there, it's Islamophobia. Give me a break. I don't know. I don't think there's any hope for California ever to wake up. That was why I left. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses. You got to remember, most of California, at least geographically, is very Republican, very conservative. It's all drowned out by San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, and Sacramento to some extent. But most of the state is very red. When it comes down to it, there are no red states. There are no blue states. They're just red states that have a high concentration of blue cities. Oregon and Washington too, but even there, you get out into the rural areas, it's very red. Never mind here. I'm trying to pull up a map here, but there's way too much garbage going on here. Yeah, there's a good map. I don't know, John. It would depend on what happened. You know, the one I did with Alan West, that just kind of dropped into my lap. Just turned out he was in town doing something, and I heard about it and went there and asked him if he'd talk to me, and he did. It's also good too. It kind of swept out a lot of the intolerant people that can't stand anyone giving a voice to a conservative. So it's always great when the trash takes itself out. Well, it's interesting that somebody of that stature. I mean, this guy was a number two runner for governor of Texas. Uh, Yet he would take it. He took time. He talked to me on camera for like 10 minutes. Churchill was a pretty good prime minister too. So I mean, you know, Great Britain's capable of doing it. It's just not lately. He is. I had a lot of respect for him. I mean, I like Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott's great too. I know that's how quick California changed too, because we had a number of good conservative governors in California up until just like 20 years ago, and it just went crazy. And that's what happened with all the illegal immigration. Reagan and Thatcher, and I'll add to that, Pope John Paul ended the Cold War. Yeah, the U.S. always had a great relationship with the Queen. Yeah, well, I don't really pay that much attention to Harry and Meghan. I know that's amazing. She was a she was a queen for so long. Still hard. Here, Flash. She's over there. Oh, they'll absolutely do that. They'll absolutely destroy everything he's done. Yeah, because everybody knows when you type Trump, you actually mean Trimp. I see you, Flash. Yeah, she doesn't like Bites treats. They don't have any lettuce or carrots or anything. She doesn't know what to make of all this. I don't have any grapes either. And there she goes. Sort of. And there she stops. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to try gumbo with Flash. I don't think she'd be into that. Yeah, I'll let her out when we get done with the live stream. I'm sure she'd rather go find someplace to hide outside. Probably a little cool in here for her, but it's okay. I thought she's out and about and walking around, so it's not too bad for her. Otherwise she'd be going to sleep. That's the beauty of a pet like Flash, so I can pick her up and put her wherever I want. She doesn't need a playpen in the front yard. She's got the whole backyard to herself. I'm still convinced she knows that yard better than I do. Oh, okay, she's right down here now. How can you not be cynical? Well, it'd have to be better than Minnesota because you got Governor Walz. Keep in mind, every Democrat president since Obama has nominated a vice president that was dumber than he or she was. Obama nominated Biden, Biden nominated Harris, and Harris nominated Walz. So what does that say about the Minnesota governor? Yeah, Elmer Fudd, exactly. At least it'd be peaceful there, Susan. Guess that's better than being a wide-eyed pessimist. We already had Gilligan for president. His name was Joe Biden. Yeah, but they don't understand we aren't a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. I'd be happy just making her a bartender again. I know you meant Kool-Aid, but Kook-Aid actually makes more sense. Yeah, let's frame this up a little better here. Pretend like I know what I'm doing here. Okay, Lovey. Whoa, check out the sunset in that picture in the back there. Hawaii really knows what to do. Oh man, you cut the shot, Matt. Ugh. I was looking at that article you sent, Susan. Yeah, they do have some stuff, but I was looking at what they sold, and what they sold wasn't really that impressive and was way overpriced. I mean, some of those amethyst cathedrals they're showing, I got mine, which is right there. And that one's a good, 18 inches tall. I got that one for a lot less than some of the ones I saw in that ad. I don't know. I guess Walmart is not the first place I'd think of buying rocks. For those of you wondering what Susan's talking about here, she sent me an email a couple days ago about how Walmart is selling rocks here. Let me show you the example that came with it here. Yeah, it's this one right here. And I mean, looking at the prices they have here, 1.5 to 2 pounds, $64. That's insane. That's insanely priced. 3/4 of a pound to 1 pound, $34. That one over there is probably 20, 25 pounds, and I got it for a lot less than it would be if they sell it by pound. I mean, that's the one that they use as an example. That piece is probably only 6 or 8 inches tall. So yeah, I don't know. Not the best prices, I think. Thanks for stopping in, Mark. It was good talking to you. Yeah, bye, Narc. I don't know. Anybody else having problems hearing me? I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. We'll kind of improvise something. I am going to go over there today. I'm going to go over there right after the live stream. Like I said, she's got that new piece of grape agate she wants to show me. Yeah, that's that's the concern because the when she introduced me to this piece that she showed me yesterday, she says, "Oh yeah, this one's three times bigger than the one that you liked last time you were here." So I'm thinking to myself, so it's probably three times as expensive too. Yeah, see, I just don't think of Walmart when I think of let's buy some rocks. I do have a piece of grape agate. It's small, but it's not really that impressive. So it would be nice to get to get a really nice one because that one she showed me a couple weeks ago was amazing under the light. Because I mean it's the beautiful purple with the spheres and all that. But when you shine the light on it, there's just thousands of little sparkles on it. Well, I'm sure somebody on Amazon sells rocks. They sell just about everything else. No, I haven't added anything to the wish list. I don't do any business with Etsy. I mean, I've seen ads for stuff, but I don't know. She's back here again. I can hear her clomping around here. Yeah, I'm looking at her right now. She's right there. Yeah, but I wouldn't want to get any broke picks, broke pearls if I had to fix them. I'm here all week, people. No, the only thing I got in here that's a house plant is supposedly poisonous. So no, she'll be fine. We'll let her out after the live stream. We'll be done in 15 minutes or so, and then she can go out and enjoy the heat. She does seem to be enjoying the cooler temperature in here because she isn't going to sleep or going into hibernation mode. She's walking around all over the place, so it's not too cold in here. See you next time, Darth. Yeah, I put all the celery in there. That would have been a good idea. Well, like I said, it's helping her cool off a little bit. I think it'll be nice before we put her outside again. No, not much of a talk show host. She doesn't really say a lot. At least Bite will meow at me once in a while. Keep punching my laptop here. That's not good. Yeah, I really got to go out and do some target shooting too. I got a shotgun a number of years ago for Christmas. I've never even taken it out and fired it yet. Houston is about as far south as I've gone. That's right. That's right on the Gulf. So that's down there quite a ways. That gun ownership was like virtually illegal in Great Britain. You know, kind of like it is in California. Well, I don't have to get licenses here to do that. I had to go through a background check when I bought them both, but beyond that, in fact, that was one of the factors that drove me leaving California was the fact that the handgun that I had bought 40 years ago was now illegal because it held too many bullets. Nope, didn't have to register them here. Oh yeah, sometimes in Matt's videos, somebody he'll get footage of somebody walking in front of the camera. That happens sometimes. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the beaches to himself. Almost to yourself though. It's crazy. You can go, you know, especially on the Big Island there. You can, there's beaches where there's like a parking lot, and then it's like a mile hike across a lava bed to get to the beach, and then you got basically a private beach. That's going to have to change at some point, Yvonne. Well, that's the whole problem. When you disarm the law-abiding citizenry, you're not disarming the criminals. Yeah, but they all need to be armed. I mean, we have security guards sometimes that are armed. That's insane, Michael. Well, I'm sure the French police had guns at one point. They just surrendered them all. There's a joke floating around about some French army person selling their firearm. Never been fired, dropped once. I'm surprised that isn't more of a thing, Michael, because it just seems like it would be a natural thing. Somebody would be selling Baylor bear claws. Well, that was what was happening here under Biden too, Darth. See you, Darth. See you next time. I don't know. Midweek is hard to do because that's a work day, especially this week where I'm on my short weekend. Bear claws are awesome. But not having the live stream once a week just gives us make sure we got plenty to talk about. Looks like everybody's kind of winding down here. We have hit that 2 hour mark, so maybe it's time to wind down here and pick this up again next week. So anyway, I think that's all I have for today. Thank you, everyone. Had a good time today. I'll see you next time. Good night.